Blessings of Light. I'm Reverend Harrison Roy Heske, and you're about to see a lecture. When we begin the path, sometimes we do not know, for the path is windy, and we do not see the bends or the end. But as we travel the path, it becomes straight and narrow until we reach our goal. Sit back and intensify now your attention, concentration, observation into a meditative state, and open your contemplative and superconscious natures to absorb blessings.
On the music or anything I've told you this morning?
Where you have crown and an E and everything?
Yes.
Is that the scale or the note?
That's the note or the key. Yeah. I know if I hit that note or if I put something in that key, it'll vibrate at the crown level of the individual. It'll open up that center. So I direct the music towards the centers of the person's body and try to bring them out of the stuck attention in their lower triad, like the hot music and hot energies that have to do a lot with percussion and stuff. And sometimes I'll just have one steady C, and I'll just do that a long time. And when I'm leading them through the Rainbow Bridge, what I do is I hit like the key in 2 octaves. If I'm taking the individual up over the chakras, when I'm playing the first chakra, I'll say, and attune yourself to this vibration. And that brings them at the red chakra. Then I go to the spleen, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And so as I take them up on the vibrations like that too, as I say, now tune to this color, and then I'll play that chord. And people say, well, gee, I can see the color better, or I can feel the color better when you play the chord. And so by sounding the certain note, I noticed like the gong that was brought back from Tibet for me is a C gong. The note that I took off of there is C. Some of the other bells I have are C's. And what I did was I would go and, like the bells that I brought into the training in that, was to open up different centers too. And so I would listen and see where it opened me up, and then I would bring it, and I knew if it did it to me, it was going to do it to somebody else too, on kind of the vibration. And so people would say, wow, that bell really gets me, or something like that. Well, it was really getting me too at the time. And I noticed when I was off and not getting the feeling of what was coming through, the people didn't get as deep a meditation either. They didn't get as deep consciousness. So when I do the music, I have to get into the music for people to get it. The more I get into it, the more they get it. And if I'm wandering off someplace else, I can't even play. My hands will, I have to have concentration there. I really have to have concentration on what I'm doing. So when I'm playing, people can come and go, and it doesn't bother me. Like I'll play when people are first coming into the room, and there's no, I don't even know how many's here. I don't even know the people are coming in, the door's opening, closing. I don't know how many times it opens and closes. I don't know how many people are coming in or anything. And then when I look around, I'm always surprised to see how many people's here. I just say, oh, gee, that's nice, So wonderful, so many people come, you see. And so I listen to the music and then the people. And in the Hindu teachings, like they chant and then the guru comes in. Well, when you're chanting, then the spirit comes in. And so they represent on the physical level what happens in the metaphysical level. And so they get everybody chanting, and then the guru comes in, they play their music and get the music going and that. Because the masters come in on beautiful vibrations of light, and they come in on these lights. And so chanting the blue ray mantra of like, not Paramahansa Yogananda, but Muktananda, Om Namah Shivaya. Now let me play that on here. sound for, they go on for an hour, naturally they're going to pull that light, right? And so if you listen to all the masters, intoning sounds of the mantra is very important because they're going to pull the color of energy that you're intoning. And the spirits live with, spirits all have color. They all have fragrance, they all have color, they all have a sound, they all have a vibration, Sweet spirits smell sweet, pungent spirits are pungent smelling, so on and so forth. And so when I looked on there, I said, wow, look at he's doing. He's playing up their throat and their brow and their crown centers, and that's where the mantra is going. So when people do that mantra for a while, they feel so transcendental. See, and that's the mystical side. They're pulling that ray. And I noticed what happened was the whole room got filled with blue light. As a clairvoyant, I could see that. And so when he took his peacock feathers, which I charge with this light, and then when I bless somebody's aura, they feel the energy that's charged in the peacock feathers to the individual. And so I was sitting there, and he was sitting up there, and he had the peacock feathers, and he was standing there, and as people were chanting, the room was getting filled with blue light, and then I saw him consciously draw him into the peacock feathers. And so he was sitting there, and pretty soon it was like a pool of energy, and it was all going into the peacock feathers, and I was going, wow, look at that, I see what he does. You see, and so I was watching the metaphysical side of what he did. Instead of going, I went through it, and then I watched it. See, I got a witness to what he was doing. And so each group, you listen to different songs in the Christians, and you listen to different songs in the Hindus, you listen to different songs in the Tibetan music and those kind of things. They all call different energies. A lot of gold energy comes from, that light yellow and gold energy coming from a lot of the Tibetan chants. You see? Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And I made sure I listened to the Karmapa when he was chanting Om Mani Padme Hum. And so I sat there and I chanted it hundreds of times and rubbed this. I have in my pocket a little Buddha, and I rubbed the Buddha and concentrated on the sound and the way he chanted the chant so I could chant it the same way. See, so that I'd get the same intoning of that vibration. And so I listen to the way different masters sound their chant, and then I'll tune into that to get that power. Because just sounding the chant, if you sound it in other keys, like I can go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, it's different than when the Krishnas do Hare Krishna. You see? The way they do Hare Krishna. And so I was getting a different aspect of Krishna, and then when I did it the way the Krishnas did Hare Krishna, I got a different feeling from it. And then I started experimenting, like Shiva, I used to do, Om Namah Shivaya. And see, that's different than Muktananda was doing. He said, Om Namah Shivaya. So see, I was intoning it different, so it has a different effect. And mantras, when you intone them different or put a different accent on a particular syllable with a different tone, it calls a different light. Now, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. That draws white, yellow, blue, green. No, wait, it's white, green, blue, yellow, red, and black. It goes white, green, blue, yellow, red, and black. And those are the 5 colors that Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. So there's a little variation in that energy. And so those are the vibrations that that particular mantra pulls. And so I would chant mantras that would pull a particular color. Like Om Tit Sit Om, Om Tit Sit Om. Now when the spirit is in your voice, and it comes out, that's known as darsham. And so the darsham is created by joining the spirit light that you're calling for and letting it play upon your voice. And when I play it, sometimes I get many, many sounds coming out at once. And the first noticing of that was when I get into a chant, after I'm chanting for a while, I can have the voice of many waters. And the students say, gee, it sounded like there was a bunch of people chanting with you. And sometimes I'll chant in certain vibrations, and other voices will come out of me. It sounds like two of me chanting. And I got that by chanting doing the ritual of intoning 3 sounds, doing the Om with the Tibetan music. And let me continue this afternoon with that, and I'll do that this afternoon. I'd like to make a correction on when I was saying vertical, I meant venticle. Venticle. V-E-N-T-R-I-C-L-E. And so the olfactory is here in the front of the brain, and the second part is the lateral, or L-A-T-E-R-A-L, lateral part, which is the second part right here, just in front of Rolando's fissure here. So if you would color the brain, it would look like slices of pie, so to speak, going towards the front here, because the brain isn't exactly a circle, as you know. It's like a half circle. It's like half of the circle. The other half is on manifest, which is half of its manifest. And the brain is the connection to the crown. So the third would be back here, and then the fourth is here in the back. So it's actually divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And then the other two colors, orange and yellow, that dealt with the pituitary and the pineal bodies in the brain, and then the skull itself was the indigo. So the question here is on the bass clef and the treble clef. The bass clef deals with 2 notes, which represent positive and negative energy, and the treble clef, or treble clef, which is triple, deals with the Trinity, and that's hitting 3 notes at a time to make the chord. And so this has to do with according. One thing you might notice that all music is written on they have 5 lines and 4 spaces, which deal with the number 9, which is a number of completion, and there are the 9 notes: do, fa, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Come back to the do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Since we are taking and attuning to inner sounds, the inner sounds have to do with an individual expression. So whatever's going on inside of you is your individual expression, and it does have a vibration. And so that inner sound vibratory rate would take in and be your inner sound that you're listening to, and that can vary by how you feel and where you're attuned. And it's very subtle in its variations. And so you would have to be attuned to it and constantly listening to it in order to see the variations in your own sound. And you can do a meditation like that. You need to be away from other influences that will draw you outwardly, like going to a place to be in seclusion where there's not traffic or airplanes or a lot of things going on. Out in nature, like people like to go in caves. The cave, you can really hear your sound. And when it's really late at night and it's quiet, you can hear your sound. And so if you meditate at that time and listen to your sound, you'll start hearing the variations. And like the master has the conscious power of his inner light and his inner sound, and he can project those or use those powers. And when his clairaudio and his clairvoyant powers are developed, then he has the conscious use of those sounds. Otherwise, you're just witnessing them until you get the use of them. And when you start meditating on them and you watch how they work, then you know how they work, then you can do something with them. But if you don't know how they work, by not taking the time to meditate on them. Now, masters come out. It takes them a while before they come out and actually, teach you. And let's see, it's who was Rabbi Shankar, I think his name is, and he took and he studied for was it 14 years before he come out into the public. And so different masters, they don't come out right away. They study and they work within themselves, and we'll be talking about that in the channel this afternoon. But if you notice, a lot of masters will really work on, and we'll tell you how you get the channel and stay attuned to it in that this afternoon, or in a few minutes. Is there any other questions that you have now that I can answer? Okay. Probably whoever's listening to this tape will probably have a lot of questions, and if you want to write to me at Post Office Box 88231, Honolulu, Hawaii 96815, with any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Let's just relax, and we'll take you through a short process here to give you a direct experience of it. So just relax. Relax and go within. Relax and go within. Deep within your being, attuned to the filament of your mind in your inner seeing. Visualize moving about you, moving in and out you, a rose-colored ray, bringing you love and vitality in your physical being. Relax and go within. And and visualize a fire orange ray, healing your emotion, joy from the cosmic ocean, radiating in and out you, moving all about you. Relax and go within. And see the sunshine yellow ray, fire in your will, clarity of thinking, dispeller of evil thoughts in the sunshine yellow ray, moving in and out you, moving all about you. With great care and great attention, listen to me. Lead your mind from darkness into light. Lead your mind from your lower realities into the higher realities. Lead your mind from death, disease, and suffering to immortality of your soul. Lead your mind from the unreal to the real, from the untruth to the truth, from darkness into light. Green, emerald green, moving all about you, moving in and out you. Green, poise and balance, healing ray, healing body, emotions, and mind in the green ray, moving in and out you, moving all about you. Blue of a summer day sky, moving all about you, moving in and out you. You see the blue that attune you to what is true, to rhythm and vibration, idea and higher concentration in contemplation. Feel your inner peace in the blue. And feel your talents in music. Well, this is the musical ray, coming forth and touching your nervous system, lifting you up to the rhythm and vibration, higher mental powers that bring forth your talents, your ideas. that in you as you see. Blue of a summer day sky, going into sapphire blue, sapphire blue, strong, translucent light. Now, indigo of a midnight sky, deep purple all about you, indigo of a midnight sky, moving in and out of you, bringing you into your individuality, merging you as one with infinity. Unity in your individual manifestation. Perfect vision, perfect insight in this generation. Indigo at oneness and unity. Find your spirituality. And now into violet fire. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. Freedom of your spirit. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. I love you. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. I love you. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. I love you. Ceremonial magic. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. Whirl, violet fire, whirl. Whirl, violet fire, whirl. Violet fire. Twirl, violet fire, twirl. Twirl, violet fire, twirl. Twirl, violet fire. Do your dance, violet fire, dance. Do your dance, violet fire, dance. Do your dance, violet fire, dance. Do your dance. Take your toll, violet fire, toll. Take your toll, violet fire, toll. Take your toll, violet fire, toll. Take your toll. Transmutation. Make us whole, violet fire, whole. Make us whole, violet fire, whole. Make us whole, violet fire, whole. Translation. Blaze, violet fire, blaze. I love you, blaze, violet fire, blaze. I love you, blaze, violet fire, blaze. Violet fire, blaze, violet fire. Transmutation fire. Spiritual freedom. Ceremonial magic. Lifting, lifting in the violet flame. And like golden snow, it's falling into this dimension of light. You feel yourself bringing together each spark until you are a glowing ball of light. Golden, translucent light. Master of yourself, master of your mind, master of your destiny, self-realized, self-disciplined, self-illumined, self-understanding, self-conscious life, mastery. And lift yourself now on that ball of light, lifting for spiritual flight, getting lighter and lighter as you go deeper and deeper within, and going through a long black tube. Feel the darkness passing, your sphere of golden light, and look into the tunnel as you're on your spiritual flight into the white light. Now it's flowing all about you. See the white light moving in and out you. Feel your golden light expanding to the left and the right, above and below, in front and in back, and every point in between, until only white light is seen. Feel your purity and perfection expanding in every direction. Feel yourself a child of God, perfect in every way. You're on your way in the white flame. White, crystal, fire, light. White, crystal, fire, light. White, crystal, fire, light. Now in the middle of this pure white flame, a crystal light you see, a crystal firelight blazing in infinity for all of eternity. The crystal flame, and written in that light your sacred name. And like a crystal river flowing from the throne of God, upon this crystal river is all possibility flowing into your being, flowing into your seeing. Clear crystal firelight, clear crystal firelight, clear crystal firelight, clear crystal firelight. Crystal firelight, clear 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 crystal firelight. Oh, great and Holy Spirit, in the light, descend, descend, descend. Touch each being here with your light of everlasting life without end. The the I am that I am. Oh, it's it. Oh, it's it. Oh, it's it. It's it. Now see the crystal river flowing from eternity, a crystal river glowing with all possibility down into your being, your crown and your seeing, your singing and your heart. No, you're never apart. Feel a radiant light in your heart, in your head, and in your being. Channeling through your hands and your mind, and giving to all you are seeing. And feel that radiant awe of light in your heart, crystal light radiating out from your heart, out from your head, and in your hands. And with this charge of crystal light, see your body being filled up with this crystalline light from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, and whirling in every cell of your body like a body filled with light. And in your heart, see the threefold flame of God's love, wisdom, and power. And see radiating around you a crystal blue fire. And around that crystal blue, a pure white light for a 9-foot shield of light. And feel it moving in and out you, moving all about you. And bring yourself back to body consciousness, with energy moving up through the bottom of your feet, down through the top of your head, in through the palms of your hand, whirling at your heart. And with every heartbeat, new life and new energies to every part of your body and into your aura. And with that awareness, simply bring yourself back by rubbing your hands together and placing them over your eyes. You can do this now. Notice your body, and notice what you feel in your body within this process. Notice what your mind is doing, your emotions are doing. Notice the calmness and clearance, the clarity that comes from doing this type of attunement. This is an aggressive movement into inner space, into the inner planes of consciousness. And when you get in, it's the time to do the passive part of it. The bridge, the rainbow bridge that we used, is the aggressive part of meditation. And when you get into the white light, that's where you're supposed to surrender into the meditation. So it does have its aggressive and passive part to it. And then you transcend space and time in the transcendental fields, and you get to the neutral or witness state of consciousness. For in every being, there's a witness and a doer, but there is also the creator. And the creator in you creates those things that you experience in the world. And when you realize these three aspects of yourself, you become a dynamic channel for consciousness. And you don't think that someone else is doing it to you anymore. You realize how you create by the impressions that you receive and act upon within your inner kingdom. The impressions of good and God are coming to every being. But they may have something in their mind that reverses the polarity of that divine energy coming in. They may have something in their soul of knowledge that perverts the energy, or emotions, or actions that keeps this from coming clearly. The channel, the one that is channeling, the individual that channels from a clear light, and the white light comes shining through. And when the white light can come through each body of consciousness to the physical, the individual then is called the perfect channel. But he may have something in one of the levels that do not let the light come through. He may not be awakened in his crown. So when the light comes in, it's still there. It's perfect. He may not be awakened in his brow. His brow center may be very inactive. And the light will come in there. But it won't do anything unless the individual is consciously connected to it. Only when he, of his own free will, or she of her own free will, makes the connection, and this is what you're doing at all times. Your will plays the biggest part in what happens to you and your destiny. And if you wish to control your destiny, you must manifest a great dynamic control of will. The willpower that will control emotions. Because when you're channeling, you're hooking different chakras together in this expression. A clear channel draws the chakra energy all the way through, all the way to the physical level, and lets that energy come out physical as the physical channel. And they talk and they make gestures with their hands, and the yogic asanas in the yogic Hatha yoga teachings teach you how to channel the energy out of the physical body. Dancing brings energy through the physical body. And to be a good channel, you must be clear in all your inner spaces and let it flow into your body. And then the energy, the Shakti, the divine current moves through the individual and activates the individual. And you move in the dance. And in the ancient times, they used to have the virgin temple dances. And they were virgin so that they wouldn't have any attunement to the earth plane in the way of sexual energies, and drain off their creative power there, and then it would go over their nervous system and cause their body to make certain movements. And if you see temple dancing in some of the countries, they still have this type of energy that you attune to. The Bon dance of the Buddhists attune to a particular type of spiritual energy. If you've seen in Thailand, the dancing they do there. And so all dancing is the end result of drawing the energy through. And then if the individual wants a different matrix for the expression of the energy in the physical, they would put a different pattern in their mind to filter the clear light coming through, and then that pattern would flow through their body, or put a pattern in their emotion, a certain way to feel. And those matrix patterns then take and qualify the light. So if you want to be a clear channel, all of these centers should be clear. Now when you're hooking certain type of music together, music takes and commands. You must have the blue ray energy involved in music. You must have the throat chakra. This is the place you have rhythm and vibration. And it also has the law of cycles within the throat center. And so the throat is involved in every type of music. And so you can see the blue-red music of the creative power being brought through to stimulate the physical dimension with percussion and that type of energy. And so that's an attunement of hooking the individual's higher triad or higher three centers with the lower triad or lower three centers. Then you have the music that comes from emotions, and that's the blue-orange music that comes out, and the emotional energy is used with creative power to bring out the rhythms and vibrations to express emotional energy. You see, like the red will express the physical energy, the orange expresses that emotional plane of energy. When you get into the intellectual type music that satisfies intellect, and that is the yellow-blue music. When you're coming from the soul or the heart center, you've got the green-blue music. When you're coming from the spiritual center of individuality and spirit, and there's music for individuality and spirit, that comes from indigo blue. And when you have spiritual freedom music, the music that's free a consciousness, it frees the consciousness, that comes in as violet blue. When you're a master of music, it's a golden blue, and when you've got the purity and perfection of music, it's white blue. So music is definitely connected to the throat center. And if you notice, what we do is we put songs or sounds along with the vibration, try to express the vibration in sound. And so some of the first music was just making sounds. And it didn't have words. It was